The great thing about industrial design, I think, is that it's so incredibly versatile. There are so many ways that you can interpret that look. Whether you live in a warehouse conversion or not, you might choose to adopt quite a vintage effect. You might look at really pure, raw industrial looks like raw concrete, splashes of yellow. You might choose a really minimalist scheme or be bold and embrace colour. That's what really excites me about running Warehouse Home, is that a portion of our readers obviously do live in genuine industrial conversions, really beautiful ones, but a huge number of our readers also don't, and they probably never will. They just like elements of the industrial style. So we cater for everyone, and in the magazine we're constantly trying to explore different ways that you can get this look. We look at materials like leather and rubber and resin and jesmonite. And if you've got an industrial conversion, you've got exposed brickwork or timber work, those kinds of materials are a really interesting, exciting way to embrace those original features. But also if you're looking for a more distinctive way to channel an industrial look in any kind of property, there are so many different ways, as I said, that you can do that. So it's an exciting magazine to run from that perspective. I'm often asked whether the industrial look is something that's just sort of a passing fad. It will, move on to the next trend. My answer is always that so many of these classic industrial pieces have actually been around for 50, 60, 70 years. You look at a design like the Gilday lights, the Tollix chairs, and they've been around for many years. The reason they're so popular and they've made that transition from the factory floor to the home is because they're hard wearing, they're classic shapes, they're timeless pieces, and people recognise that they can use them in a multitude of different ways around the home. And again, it's an easy way to incorporate just little industrial touches in any setting. In my own home, it's been quite a long process to find exactly the right pieces. I've been really inspired by the original features. It's got exposed timber, a lot of raw brickwork, steel columns. So what I've really tried to do is honour some of the materials that are already there and seek out a lot of metallic finishes in particular, and quite a few different vintage items using reclaimed timber or old timbers. Things that you might find from a salvage store or vintage or antiques experts. In my particular home have been the kinds of things that I've gravitated towards. In the Warehouse Home book, we feature genuine warehouse conversions, industrial conversions all over the world. They're in old print works, old cement factories, spice warehouses. Every single building is completely different and has its own original features, its own challenges and quirks that the designers, the homeowners, the architects have had to work with, embrace, work around. And I think things like heating are one of those universal challenges for any homeowner, but particularly with these kinds of spaces, if you're dealing with open plan, high ceilings, mezzanine levels, any building that has the original windows, these are all challenges that present in terms of trying to heat the space efficiently. I think quite often when our interior design studio team are talking to a new client, heating obviously comes up, and it's quite surprising how frequently people just haven't even considered it. I think that one of the reasons is possibly because people are prepared to try and make do with what they already have, and perhaps haven't considered that there can be improvements that they can probably make, quite significant improvements. So improvements in terms of the efficiency, the output of the radiators and the way that the property is heated, but also the style input for those radiators as well. And it's funny how so often in a completed project, the radiators really do just finish everything off.